Hello, everybody. This is the review topics for Chapter 11, which is muscular tissue. First of all, we are going to go through, you have to go through the characteristics of muscle tissue. What are the properties of skeletal muscles? What are the connective tissue wrappings? That's the endomysium, perimysium, and epimysium. It's epimysium. Okay, so you should know those wrappings, epimysium, and you should know what is a muscle fiber. So we discussed that a muscle fiber is actually a muscle cell. So a muscle cell has got a membrane that is a sarcolemma. Inside you have the sarcoplasm. Anything with sarco is it means muscle. You have the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And what's the main function of the sarcoplasmic reticulum? So connected with that, we should know what are the T-tubules, what are the terminal cistern, and what is Triad. What are myofibrils? So myofibril or myofibril, they are the contractile elements within the muscle fiber. So that's a very peculiar property of muscle fibers. It contains these cylinders called myofibrils. So what are the types of myofilaments in the myofibril? There are thick filaments, thin filaments. What are they made of? What is the role of troponin, Tropomyosin? And we talked about the sliding filament theory. So all these proteins have got major roles to play. What is a sarcomere? What's the structure of the sarcomere? For which you have to know what are the Z discs, what is I band, A band, H band. Why is a skeletal muscle striated? And that's because of all of these bands, the I bands and A bands, and you should know what are the I bands and A bands. Why is one dark and why is one light? You should know about a motor unit, which is a nerve connected to the muscle. This is what we call a neuromuscular junction, or NMJ, so neuromuscular junction. And what happens when an electrical impulse reaches a neuromuscular junction? What are the chemical changes that happens in the maximum terminal? So you know that there are vesicles containing neurotransmitter, so you should know what are the neurotransmitters. Acetylcholine is one of the transmitters. And then there is an acetylcholinesterase, which is an enzyme which removes it. So once the job is done, these neurotransmitters will be removed. What happens when a muscle becomes denervated? So innervation means nerve supply of a muscle. Denervation means loss of nerve supply. So what happens? That brings us to disuse atrophy or denervation atrophy. What is a resting membrane potential? So there are some pumps which are acting. So how is it maintained? What are the pumps? What is an action potential? Know how muscle contraction happens. What is the sliding filament mechanism? What are the steps in excitation of a muscle? So a muscle becomes excited, and that is from the nerve. There is some chemical changes happening there. So that is resulting in contraction of the muscle. And after contraction, there is relaxation. And relaxation is another process by itself, which is an active process. Both contraction and relaxation both of them needs ATP. What is the role of calcium in muscle contraction? Calcium plays a big role. And this brings us to rigor mortis. What is the mechanism of rigor mortis? So rigor mortis is the contraction of muscle after death. So you must know the mechanism of rigor mortis. What is isometric and isotonic contraction? Know the difference between them. What are the energy sources for muscle, which is the ATP, but the ATP synthesis, which happens during exercise, during the initial period, within 10 to 15 seconds, 30 to 40 seconds, after 30 minutes and beyond 30 minutes, they all are different. So you should understand the phosphagen system, the role of enzymes and myokinase and creatine kinase, and there are various stages here. Phosphagen system is one of them, and you should know the others. And after the exercise is comes to an end, you have what is known as the excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, EPOC. So what is that? So it's primarily the the cardiac, the heart is still pumping fast, and you're breathing heavily, so the cardiopulmonary part is still active, and that's to reduce the oxygen deficit. All those. So, and what is muscle fatigue? What happens? So there are certain things that happens which causes muscle fatigue. Otherwise, you could keep going forever, but that doesn't happen. What are the classes of muscle fibers? You have slow twitch fibers. You have fast twitch fibers. What are the kind of fibers seen in sprinters? What are the kind of fibers seen in long distance runners? What happens in endurance training, and what is resistance training? So what are the changes? What are the muscle changes which happens during due to weightlifting? I think weighting is one word. Weightlifting. So you know when you do weightlifting, there is the muscles become bigger, and that's because of muscle hypertrophy, an increase in size. And what is hypertrophy? And muscle hypertrophy is primarily due to an increase in the number of myofibrils. It is not due to an increase in the number of fibers. Okay, that's very, you should know that distinction. Okay, so the number of myofibrils are increased, and you should know the properties of cardiac muscle and smooth muscle. This chapter mainly concentrates on skeletal muscle, but it also touches the main properties of cardiac muscle. So that's about it. Good luck and happy studying.